And now we're going to drop back to our cool down and let our bodies recover. Look at this though. Does it get any more beautiful? Wow. Spectacular, spectacular. So yeah, you can probably hear it. I'm certainly feeling it. As we crested over the crater rim here, we got out of the windbreak of the western breach. That morning wind is just kind of ripping, cascading over here, making it feel a lot colder. It's probably temperature-wise a little bit warmer than it was down in the breach, but the wind is dropping it down. Definitely quite chilly. But great job. More to compensate for what I'm feeling at altitude. Still want to keep a good upright posture by the buff and recycled, keeping my throat a little more moist and helping keep that cough at bay.
You just explained why you wear a buff at altitude. Fascinating. So you don't end up with a respiratory tract infection when you're
just
a mountain
look at
climber.
the beauty up here. You're seeing some of the last lingering snows of Kilimanjaro here. There were never, in recent memory, massive glaciers akin to what you might see in Alaska or the more temperate ranges, even on Mount Rainier. Probably not since the last ice age, but as recently as 50, 60 years ago, these glaciers up here were much bigger, much more robust. Some of them were actually live glaciers, meaning that they were moving. They had a zone of accumulation and a zone of ablation, which caused movement in the glacier. But now, there's really very little of them left. We've got some permanent snowpack over here on the right. Oh, here's Alicia. He's the man, keeping us healthy and happy. And this is our big dining tent where we eat meals that are far too good to be had up this high on a mountain. Asante. All right, we'll cruise around this way. Got more sleeping tents up over here. Uhuru is right above us, the summit of Kilimanjaro. This is the water filtration system here. They nicely collect water for us and filter it so it's safe and clean to drink. We don't need to add iodine or use a SteriPen. And here's where the nutrition magic happens. This is the cook tent. Jumbo jumbo. Look at these guys. Amazing. Preparing gourmet meals at 18,500 feet. Thank you, thank you. You guys are amazing. It smells good. All right, well, let's go for a walk across the crater here. Again, it's a recovery workout. We're not trying to push ourselves, just moving our muscles, making sure we get lactic acid out. We don't tense up because we're gonna have a pretty good workout as we go for the tippy top of Africa in the next workout. And one additional mountain range in equatorial Africa, Kilimanjaro. And take a look at this. This is incredible ice, but not much of it left. You can tell that that's probably going to be gone very easily in our lifetimes. But you've got Kilimanjaro, you've got Mount Kenya, and then the Ruwenzori Range in Uganda and Democratic Republic of Congo. We've got some equatorial ice also in South America, but that's fading very rapidly as well. And bigger glaciers there, bigger ice, but it too will be gone if temperatures globally keep increasing. And I'm guessing this is probably some of the fumarole activity here. We'll see, it may even, I don't know if it's warm. Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. It's probably this rock can't be heated by the sun. That's fumarole activity. Putting my hand on it wasn't burning hot. It was probably about 70 or 80 degree rock right there. So that's melted away this glacier, built this rift in between it, and split it in two. So that chunk over there will be gone in not too long. And this one is withering away. With here on October 5th, 1889. I can only imagine what they were dressed in. Wool sweaters, tweed coats. There wasn't down in those days, so no down sleeping bags to cuddle in at night. Things were probably pretty rustic. But they pushed their way up here in great explorer fashion and managed to climb up Uhuru Peak back then. Really hard to believe. And I was just on this trip rereading the account from 1930 of a couple of my heroes, Bill Tillman and Eric Shipton, who came here in 1930. They had both been given land for their service in World War I. And they were up in the more coastal areas of Tanzania, but both were climbers, big time climbers. And so they'd hop in their early Jeep drive for days, make their way down to Kilimanjaro, out to Mount Kenya, down to the Ruwenzori. They climbed pretty much everything there was to climb in these ranges, in these areas. It's just amazing as well to think of them with fairly primitive gear, not much support, coming out, and they climbed Kiley in just a few days once they got to the base. Then they went over and climbed Mwenzi. Had no idea what they were getting into there. Scrambled up the rotten rock and couloirs and did what I think was only the second descent of Mwenzi. Wow. So let's go another minute here over to these cairns, take a last look in the ash pit, and gaze around at this stunning scenery up on Kilimanjaro.
His camp is to the right of this ridge he's on. He's not talking as much as he's at 18,500 feet.
Yeah, that sulfur is really strong right here. Whew! Kind of sucks the breath right out of you. We've never had major storms or anything. The last trip I was up here a couple of years ago, I was a bit worried because the day we got onto the mountain was really stormy and it snowed about 18 inches up on the summit. So I was worried that it was maybe going to be a bit of a struggle breaking through snow. We got lucky, and by the time we got to the top, got to our summit day, everything had pretty much melted off. As we weave through these boulders here, it's so beautiful. Why don't you hop out in front and see these first rays coming through. I always love the shadows of sunrise. Everything gets long and exaggerated, and the colors are just spectacular. Is Gilman's Point, and that's where the Rongai and Morongo routes come in, and then join up with Machame at Stella and continue on. So we're gonna definitely see a lot more people here as we merge with the bigger routes. All right. So we'll get through the traffic here and resume our intervals. Jumbo. Screaming at you, telling you to slow down. Take a gander around at the terrain up here. It's a good distraction for your brain. This massive crater of Kilimanjaro. It's incredible. The last snows of Kilimanjaro up here, permanent snows. Then I love looking at these thunderheads welling up out of the south. You know, most of us, we don't get to views and altitudes like this outside of a plane. So it's pretty neat to be able to see it on foot. You're doing great. We're at a minute, 30 seconds more in this interval. Stay strong, keep pushing. Take some of those big, deep pressure breaths. Using all of your lungs, moving as much oxygen as you can. 5 seconds to go. 3, 2, 1, and recover. Nice push. You know, I don't know for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're some of the first people to do intervals on the summit ridge of Kilimanjaro. Probably doesn't happen every day.
No. Oh, funny, Jake.
If you look out east here, you can just make out Mount Mwenzi, that other cone of Kilimanjaro we've talked about, but haven't seen yet. All right, 5 seconds to our next interval. 3, 2, 1, and push it back up. RPE 8. Breathing deep. Look at the scenery to keep your mind off the pain of intervals.
Closing in now on 19,000 feet. Yes.
We've got 30 seconds to go. And as we push up here, imagine that record time set by Carl Egloff of 4 hours and 56 minutes up this thing.
Carl Egloff?
Pretty mind-numbing to imagine that. And 5 seconds before we can throttle back. Stay strong through it. 1 second and recover.
Look at the edge of glaciers over here.
Awesome job.
On the other side of him. Unbelievable.
So yeah, think of people like Carl, people like, look at that, looking south, down into the plains of Tanzania. The amazing snows of Kilimanjaro. And you see that crowd up ahead, that group of people. That is Uhuru Peak. That's our goal, not far away now. Summit of Mount Kilimanjaro, one of the 7 summits, top of Africa, 19,341 feet above sea level. Hard to believe we're almost there. Jumbo, boy. Nice work, congrats, Jumbo. I've always found on Kilimanjaro and other mountains, as we come into the summit, you almost want to run it like another interval, because sometimes it seems so close and yet so far. We're not going to ramp up our pace now. We're going to keep it slow and steady, still in our recovery, but we want to focus on that steady part, because sometimes you glance at the summit, you look down, count 10 steps, glance back up, and it doesn't seem any closer. So let's just focus on, we're going to get there, one bite at a time, one step at a time, and keep our pace steady. Don't give in. Don't let off the gas. We're going to finish in style. Wow, and look at that thunderhead welling up from the north. You can really tell the weather's changed. North side tends to be the very dry side of the mountain, except during the rainy season. And now these thunderheads are swirling around Kilimanjaro, really coming in from all directions. And we're just threading the needle here, getting just an absolutely spectacular summit day. And again, yeah, to the south, behind recovery mode. Back down to RPE 4. Great push through that interval. You're really rocking it as we go up here. Again, in recovery, let's keep RPE around 4. Breathe deep. Take some water too if you need to.
Whoa.
You want to stay hydrated.
This is the most
Congratulations.
non-Sherpa people
Nice work.
we've seen coming down after their ascent.
Look at these views again, and you just don't get more spectacular scenery than this. About 5 more seconds for this interval. Why don't you hop in the lead here so you really get the view? It's spectacular. And go. Remember those deep pressure breaths. Staying strong. You and I were hopping out of a Jeep down in the rainforest, 12,700 feet below, coming right into 19,341 Uhuru Peak. Look at our team here gathered up. Amazing. Woohoo! Jumbo, Sante Sana, Rafiki. Sante Sana. All right. Look at this. You did this. Amazing work. 20 workouts. We've come over 12,700 feet together from the rainforest through the cloud forest up to the heath and moorland, up through the western breeze, crater camp, pushing hard every day. I'm so proud of you. You never gave up. You never gave in. You stuck with these difficult workouts. You and I did it together every step of the way, and this is your reward. 19,341 feet, summit of Mount Kilimanjaro. Amazing job. I'm Jake Norton, your iFit trainer. Go rest, recover, and I'll see you on the next mountain. Congratulations. Woohoo!
Oh my. And he has 2 descent workouts to go. So this is a total of 20 workouts so far to get me to this summit. Some of them have been, like today, 45 minutes. Others have been 30 minutes and up to make it. So if someone did it in 8 hours, I've walked all the way up the entire mountain. Unbelievable! I love iFit, if you can't tell.
From the western breed. Jumbo, hello. And 3, 2, 1. All right. Relax. Go back into recovery. Nice work on that. Awesome job pushing 1.5-minute intervals at 19,000 feet. I don't think that gets done every day. Jumbo. So we're going to do a nice recovery here. Walking out our recovery, getting our heart rate back. And what's amazing is this recovery is going to roll us all the way in to Uhuru Peak, top of Kilimanjaro, roof of Africa. And look at the day we've got going. Just perfect. Spectacular. Yeah, we talked earlier about the rainy season encroaching. Again, here in Tanzania, there's really 2 rainy cycles, the short rains and the long rains. We're right on the edge of the long rains. They usually begin in the first couple weeks in March, looking at these storms out to the south, and even some to the north and east, massive thunderheads. I think it's safe to say the rains have begun, but what's wild is we're up above them. We're looking at the tops of thunderheads. Again, this is a view or perspective we usually only get when we're up in an airplane. We've walked up here. Main Lemosho and Mochame routes come up through here, through Stella Point, and then far off, if you can just make it out, the last bit of rock you can see in the distance, that's where Gilman's Point is. And that's where, if you climb from the Rongai route from the north, or from the Morongo route, one of the most popular routes, you'd come up through Gilman's. But here we are in the snow at Stella, and we're going to begin our descent here. As you can see, things are really going to pick up in steepness as we go down. So a little bit on posture, what I want to do is, if you think of a shortstop, how a shortstop would stand, they're not standing upright just like this. They're down and kind of ready for the ball to come to them and to react. That's somewhat what we want to do as we descend terrain like this. Bend at the knees, bend at the waist. Nose wants to be over our toes. Because if our nose is over our toes, our body isn't going to let us fall forward very easily. But if we get back like this, we're in the back seat and we're actually pushing our feet downhill and likely to land on our butts. So by getting our weight forward, nose over toes, feet about shoulder width apart, and then take a lot of short, small steps, we can really just motor down this pretty comfortably. Route. So they really try and siphon people to different parts of the mountain so that no area gets too crowded, which is pretty nice. Remember, as we go down, be sure that you do keep breathing. Keep those muscles filled with oxygen. And in my situation, try and avoid any headaches. Jumbo. Jumbo, hello. Jumbo. Jumbo. Yeah, people often do really let their guard down as they descend mountains. And, often just get into a routine of descending. You're not working as hard as you are going uphill. People forget to drink, so they get dehydrated. And they forget to breathe. And even though I'm not working super hard, descending here at 12,000 feet, I still am at 12,000 feet. And so if I don't breathe and move oxygen, I might very well start getting a bit of a headache from the altitude, just like we talked about a lot going up with AMS, acute mountain sickness. A true wild Amazonian type rainforest. I haven't gotten there yet, but I would love to see some of it, be it in the actual Amazon or rainforests in other parts of the world. The closest I've really come is some in Central America and South Asia, and then here in East Africa, in the rainforests that surround Kilimanjaro, Mt Kenya, and the Ruwenzori. But definitely nothing like the vast Amazon and other huge rainforests around the world. So someday maybe I'll get there, but I'll have to toughen myself up a bit beforehand, learn how to deal with heat and humidity, and after growing up in New England, have to reacquaint myself with how to deal with mosquitoes. Not my favorite thing in the world. You can see after the pretty rustic side of the mountain we were on that didn't have a lot of crowds, now we're on the south side where probably 80% of the Kilimanjaro traffic comes, 80% of those 30,000 people per year. So the infrastructure here is a lot bigger. There's actually routes on the south side where you don't sleep in tents. You can opt to stay in huts the whole time. Jambo Rafiki. But I think tents are a lot nicer way to go at the end of the day. Jambo.
The wounded hiking Kilimanjaro.
Jumbo, jumbo. All right, and here we are at camp. Amazing, amazing work. Great job. Thanks for going with me on this recovery trek today. A great recovery workout. We really worked hard. Hopefully you learned some new things about downhill travel. And here we are at Mweka Camp, 10,000 feet. We've got one more recovery to go. I'm Jake Norton, your iFit trainer. Go get some rest, relax, hydrate, and I'll see you next time. Keep climbing. And it was kind of felt like sleeping under a wet blanket last night, but it was good nonetheless. So now, as you can see around me, we're fully back into the forest zone on Kilimanjaro, the land of dense vegetation, huge trees, lots of undergrowth. I mean, it's thick here. And saw some blue monkeys a few minutes ago, which were pretty cool. Heard up in a tree a turacao, way up there. And yeah, we'll see if we can find some more of them. We also saw a little while ago a giant camphor tree, one of the biggest trees around in girth, jumbo, I've ever seen. It was massive, kind of like the sequoias and redwoods, not quite that big, but still huge. Bon voyage on the sign. Definitely, you don't get a summit certificate until you make the round trip. And we've done that now. Awesome work. Look at this, we're back here. You can even go buy a Coke, buy whatever you want. Back in civilization, and I think a shower is really in my near future here. Wow, awesome work. Thank you for joining me on this expedition up and down Mount Kilimanjaro. You and I did it together every step of the way, from the jungles to 19,341 feet, the roof of Africa. Incredible job. Thank you so much. I can't wait for the next climb with you. Now go rest, recover. I'm Jake Norton, your iFit trainer. Thank you, Jumbo, and keep on climbing.